Hey everyone, I hope you're all okay today. So today I'm going to do one of my most highly requested videos, which is how I got my hair this colour and how I keep it that way. So I actually done this all myself. I've never been to a salon for this colour. So essentially this is going to be a video on how to go from blonde to brown. What I meant was going from brown to blonde at home. So yeah, I am actually going to a salon this week to have my hair done a little bit more ombre, and that's only because my boyfriend's offered to pay for it as a graduation present, and I'm just getting a little bit bored of doing my roots. But if you want to go from brown to blonde at home, then you totally can, and hopefully you can learn from my mistakes that I've made in kind of getting my hair this colour. So right, let's start at the beginning. So I have mousy brown hair, kind of like light brown. I'm going to try and put in some like before and after photos now. But if that doesn't work, then I'm going to do a whole blog post to go alongside this video. So if you do want to look at photos of what my hair used to look like and kind of like what it looks like now colour wise, and maybe some stages in between, then please do find those in the link below to my blog, and hopefully, you know, those will help you out. So yeah, I had light brown hair and I just got a bit bored with it. My sister always had really nice blonde hair and I always really wanted her hair. So I couldn't afford to do it at the salon, kind of go through the highlight route. So basically I went to Boots with Faye from Faye Says, and Lydia, and picked up an ash blonde nice and easy dye, went back to Lydia's house and just did it, and did no research, and that isn't really the way to do it. What happened was my hair went a kind of orangey ginger colour. My boyfriend said carrot colour, which is really nice of him. It wasn't like absolutely terrible. I didn't cry or anything. It just wasn't exactly the ashy blonde that I'd hoped for. What I didn't realise then is that what I should have done is use a pre-lightener. So the first thing you want to do is get a pre-lightener. Garnier do really good ones. And like there's quite a lot of different ones you can get, and that will just lift your hair, if it is brown and not already blonde, lift your hair to like a certain colour, probably the gingery stage, and then you need to dye it ash blonde on top of that. So what I did is waited a month, just because I was worried about the condition of my hair, and then I did it again with the nice and easy dye, and it went a really nice ashy blonde colour, and I was so happy with it. So essentially you could dye it twice. I would try and leave as big a gap you could in between though, or you can use a pre-lightener and then use a dye. It's up to you, and again the time gap is up to you depending how long you can live with gingery hair basically. Nothing wrong with ginger hair, but this is much more orange than like a nice ginger colour. So the dye that I use, sadly I don't have like all of the boxes and everything for the dyes that I use, because obviously I'm having it done at the salon this week, so I haven't got any like in stock or anything. But I use the Nice and Easy SB10, and that is the lightest shade, and it has a pre-lightener actually fixed in with it, so it lifts it like the extra amount. So I don't use pre-lighteners on my roots or anything, I just use that on my roots, because it lifts it to a good colour. And I usually leave it on for an hour, not 45 minutes as recommended, just because I think you do need an hour to get the lift if you kind of had hair as dark as mine. So once you've got your like lovely ashy blonde hair, just from using the dye, you'll notice that I've never used bleach, and the Nice and Easy dyes don't contain bleach. So I really would try, if you can, not to go down the bleach route, because as soon as you do, your hair will be in even worse condition. And I've had a friend who used bleach highlights and quite a lot of her hair fell out and stuff like that, so I just wouldn't really risk that. Try and do it through Nice and Easy ash blonde dye if you can. My mum actually still does her hair blonde, and she's got this L'Oreal Paris one that I just wanted to show you, which is in light beige blonde. It's this kind of colour that you want to look for, if you want this kind of colour anyway. But you can see on the back, this isn't really advised for like dark brown hair. So if you do have dark brown hair, you need to get a kind of dye with inbuilt pre-lightener, basically. So once you've got it, you'll notice that it fades quite quickly. I think I was back to kind of having more gingery orange shade within like the month of getting the colour I wanted. So you have to use a toner. Now, a kind of heavy duty toner is this BBlonde toner, which is for like platinum, you can see, but obviously you don't have to use it for just platinum hair. You can just leave it on a bit less time and it won't kind of take you all that way to platinum. And this gets rid of those brassy orange tones in your hair. This is really, really good, and this is great if you're having a real problem with brassy tones. However, just for everyday kind of combating of it, whenever you're in the shower, you have to use a purple shampoo, because the purple just completely combats the brassy tones. And my go-to purple shampoo is this Touch of Silver one by Provoke. This is also the cheapest one. It's about £2.50, which is an absolute bargain. And it says only use it twice a week, but I mean, I wash my hair probably about 3 times a week. I just use it every time. Leave it on for a few minutes, and it really does keep your hair nice and bright and ashy, and just what you want. And this really is the most effective one, so really definitely buy this if you're thinking of going blonde, or if you are already blonde and you're struggling with keeping your hair kind of like salon fresh or whatever. Definitely use a purple shampoo. And also with that, you need to use a really good conditioning treatment, because it is obviously, even if you're not using bleach, it's quite a damaging hair colour to attempt. So I love the TRESemme Platinum Strength. I think it's the deep conditioning treatment. I tend to use a deep conditioning treatment every time I wash my hair. If I wash it every day, I wouldn't. But because I only wash it kind of like 3 times a week, I probably use this every time and just don't leave it on for quite as long as it says. It's so good. It says it visibly repairs up to 2 years of damage, and I do think it does. Like, my hair does feel very nice and soft and silky once I've kind of like straightened it and sorted out and everything, from it being its kind of frizzy mess that it usually is. So this is a really good one. But any like deep conditioning mask, you need to just basically take good care of your hair, and if you can, try and avoid using so many heat tools. But I can't really say that because I have curly hair and I straighten it every time I wash it, so I've used heat tools as well. And the hairdressers never say that my hair is particularly damaged or anything, so I think you're okay as long as you're not kind of going down the bleach route at home. Yeah, so basically you'll notice obviously your roots are going to come through, and they're probably going to come through quite dark and noticeable. I've got really bad roots right now. Try not to look at them. I am getting it done this week. But I think kind of about every 2 months, I try to leave it as long as possible. I would do my roots, and all I would do is take the Nice and Easy blonde dye and just kind of like just go over my roots. So I'd start in the centre parting, pull it over, and just work outwards and do the back and everything. And then I would wrap that up in a turban, because heat actually like intensifies the lift of the blonde. And then I would undo it after about 45 minutes, and then I would take the rest of the dye and put it through the rest of my hair if it needed a bit of an extra lift for the last kind of like 15 minutes or so. So it really does depend how blonde the rest of your hair is looking. But obviously you want your roots to match the rest of your hair, so don't just put it all over your hair in the first place, because your roots then won't be as light as the rest of your hair, if that makes sense. So it's all about keeping it even as well, and you'll notice that you need more dye on the underside of your hair, and when you put it up in a ponytail, kind of like the tops of your hair, those will be a bit darker, just because you know, it's always going to be lighter just on the surface. So yeah, I think that's everything. It's totally doable, and you just need to kind of be prepared for the upkeep, really. So just the steps, I'm just going to go through them one more time, and then obviously these will all be on my blog post of this, along with photos and probably more products and helpful tips. So I will link that below. So number 1, pre-lightener or ash blonde dye. Number 2, you need to either do another ash blonde dye or your first ash blonde dye, if that makes sense. And then number 3, you need to maintain it with purple shampoos and toners. You can always use a toner straight after you dye it if you're having real problems. And then number 4, you need to like maintain your roots, but make sure you're keeping your hair nice and even. And that's everything. So I hope this has been helpful, and good luck to anyone going blonde, or just help kind of like trying to get their blonde a bit more ashy or luminous. I hope it hasn't been too rambly as well. Sorry, I just really wanted to do it before I got my hair dyed. Please do subscribe if you want to see more from my channel, and like this video if you like it. And also check out my Twitter and kind of like other links below. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!